Hey everyone, and welcome to the results announcement live stream for multiplayer round 74. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening tonight. Anyway, this is a multiplayer round 74, and in this round all the players had to create a farm-themed plot. Now, there's quite a few nice plots. All the plots have been filled, which is always nice to see. So that means we have 16 entries, and there's some absolutely beautiful ones. So this big cow over here. So yeah, in this video or a live stream, we're gonna go through all of these entries. I'll start with the one that got the lowest score, and I'll finish by announcing who's the winner of this round. Alright, let's start with 16th place. Well, actually, I'll start with 15th place, because there's actually a tie for 15th place. So, first entry that's in 15th place is this plot from Steve M4, who was named Steve M Farm for this particular contest. He built a nice little farm with a mine train coaster. And these monster trucks which drive around, and these paths here. I think that's pretty nice. I can also see some fields over here. I think maybe if he decorated these areas a bit more, maybe did a bit more work on the building details, then probably it would have scored a bit higher. Here's a little tip: if you have a building like this, you can see the walls like this, these walls look really thin. But if you want to make them look a little bit more substantial, just put a little post like this. That makes the walls look a little bit thicker. Also do a post over here. And let's add one over here. Yeah, it's just the little details. Or something like this even. That instantly makes your buildings look a bit nicer. Also, you could add some posts over here, for example. It's all in the little details. But yeah, overall a nice plot. I think it's one of the plots with the most attractions. Alright, then the other plot that got... Oh wait, I forgot to announce the score of this plot. This plot got a score of 6.13. So we're already starting off quite high with the lowest score. Now, the other plot that got 15th place is the plot from 2IQ. And 2IQ used his few brain cells to create this nice little hybrid coaster. It's actually a pair of hybrid coasters. I believe they're both launched coasters, not really sure. And at least the purple one is a shuttle coaster, so it travels partway up the spike here, and I believe it travels up this spike, and it goes backwards, then travels backwards up this one, something like that. But I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, could also see a little sign here saying "Rest in Peace, ZDT." I'm pretty sure that's a reference to a ZDT amusement park with the well-known coaster Switchback. At least I thought it was named Switchback. It's the famous wooden coaster with the vertical spike. Oh yeah, most of the plot is filled with just corn, which actually does make it blend in nicely with the rest of the map, so I think that's nice. But yeah, of course, the voters probably would have liked some more decoration. But anyway, for 15th place, I think this is pretty nice. Alright, then we go to 14th place. And in 14th place, with a score of 7.13, so exactly 1 point higher, we have the plot from Dowerson. Now, I have to mention that all of these plots look really nice, so yeah, the scores for this round are pretty high. This one got a score of 7.13. Now, Darson created this nice little building here. Kind of gives Mediterranean vibes. something in France or Italy probably. Here's some cornfields. Some mazes. And over here we have a giant beanstalk. I think it's also pretty nice how Darson did it. I quite like the color gradient in it. And here's some other huts. Some rock walls next to this path here. It's almost like a little painting of sorts. But yeah, no rides, not really anything else to grab the attention. So that's probably why you find it on the lower end of the scores. I do like this little river here in the middle. Oh, I see someone ask when I will notice the cut height. Oh yeah. Little castle here on top of the beanstalk. Pretty nice. Alright. Then let's go check out 13th place. In 13th place with a score of 7.53. We have the plot from Timmy to... I'm just kidding. We have the plot from ATN. And ATN made this nice... I believe it's a futuristic farm. You can see lots of hover bikes parked here. They're just floating here. Here's a little structure. Also with some of these solar panels on top. Lots of trees, of course. I like how these... I believe these are TNT stacks. And they're partly buried into the ground. So they kind of just look like crates. And they have these... yeah, they're filled with fruit. I think that's a really nice detail. It's a nice little river in the middle. It's always a nice trick when people use this. So basically it's a log flume track, but with the track made invisible. And here's just more farms. Also more of these solar panels. And all of these fruit trees in between. Yeah, I think that's really cool. You can also see some guests walking in between. And more of these crates. Yeah, no other rides here except for the merry-go-round, I believe. What's it called? Lemon go-round. Oh, there's also an observation tower. I quite like this little chimney here on the side. Although this may be a bit on the low side for such a big building. But yeah, really cool stuff. Alright, and then we get to 12th place. In 12th place, with a score of 7.60, we have the plot from Rin. Oh, I did a wrong cutout. Let me try again. It's annoying with all these other plots around it. There we go. Hey, this is the New Zealand flag, trust me. I've been playing a lot of Hollow Knight Silk Song lately. And the main character, she often says something like Rin. I have to keep thinking of Rin's name when she says that. Anyway, yeah, here's the plot from Rin. Here's her little brewery. You can see this seating area outside. Of course, there's a flag here. It looks like it extends over the edge of the path. I believe that's just a visual thing. So it's a single rail, or just it's diagonal track. I'll say it looks different from every angle, so that must be it. So here's a little maze. And here's the brewery. And you can also look inside of the brewery if you want. So let's take a quick look inside. So I guess this is where guests can order their beers. Let's go a little bit up. Yeah, so yeah, lots of stuff here on the walls. I think that looks really cool. Also some entertainers dancing around here in the back. Also a guy sleeping here. But he drank a bit too much. But yeah, really cool stuff. This is Rin's brewery. Alright, then we get to 11th place. And in 11th place, with a score of 7.81, we have Wes. And this is Wes Husblad. There we go. Now, one rule for this contest was that players could actually also connect a transport ride to their neighbors. I believe only 3 plots actually made use of this, so it's these 3 plots. And you can see a train that goes back and forth between these plots. Okay, this is Wes, his entry. We can see a cornfield here, which is being plowed by these vehicles, or being harvested. There's some really cool details on this plot. I love this this machine here. This looks so cool. Also the little water stream to act as corn, I guess. Some other machines over here. This is probably my favorite part. There's one of these plants in the expansions that spews out these yellow particles. Yeah, Wes made great use of that object here. Because these particles actually work really well here. So this tiny vehicle is probably a bit undersized. But yeah, some really cool details here. You can see a little field next to the building. You can see a handyman raking up these leaves. Yeah, a very strong truck indeed. The little truck that could. No, and there's some farm trucks going around here in this field. And some peep scenes. Oh, it's people from our community having fun here, I guess. Oh yeah, I also like the autumn vibes here. These trees have some pretty nice colors. So yeah, nice little plot from this. Alright, then we have a tie again for 9th place. So, the first entry that got 9th place is this little plot over here from Cheddarman. And they got a score of 8.13, which is pretty high. Well, yeah, this was one of my favorite plots. I really like this. First, once again, you can see the train going here. And this is some really clever object usage. So, in the Asian set from the expansions, you actually have these doors. And yeah, Cheddarman made this part of the door invisible, and then they actually work really well as arches. So yeah, that's some clever object usage. I think it works great for this bridge. Now, this is a plot in the French countryside. Here we have a beautiful building. Love the different materials that were used here. Also a little painting scene over here. That's also nice. So yeah, I believe you get this if you call a guest Simon Foster, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, with the Peep Editor plugin, you can just freeze a guest in this animation. Yeah, this is definitely a nice scene to make a painting of. I love how these flowers are done. And I believe it's also a mini golf ride, so guests float around here in between these flowers. But yeah, I also love the foliage here, the river, the bridge. Just a really nice plot. Also some funny guest scenes in between. Let's see a picnic scene here, also with the ferry. some other stuff happening here. Yeah, it's a really fun plot to explore. Oh yeah, this is Lavender, by the way. Alright, then let's take a look at the other plot that got 9th place. And the other plot that got 9th place is the plot from Toll JK26. Now, personally, I gave this plot a really high score. Because I love stuff like this. I think the object usage here is just insane. This just looks amazing. What I saw most complaints about in the reviews was that this part of the plot and this part of the plot, the scales are completely different. What people probably would have liked to see is more stuff in this scale. And then probably the score would have got it bumped up to a 9. But yeah, this is the score it got. I think 8.13 is a really good score. It's definitely something I would be happy with. But yeah, I think the object usage here is super clever. I love this machinery. This tractor is so great. Also love this detail where it pushes all the harvested corn to here. This is just awesome to see. Definitely one of my favorite plots. Alright, then we get to 8th place. And in 8th place, with a score of 8.19, we have the plot from 30. And 30 created something which is a mix between a barn and a castle. A barn stall, I guess. But yeah, it has this dive coaster, which I think looks great. Has some nice support work, nice little layout, quite a few inversions. And yeah, it travels through this mix between a barn and a castle. Has some nice interaction here. Not sure if this is legal. Oh, it actually is. Good. I don't see any track pieces here on the path. Yeah, some clever usage of these doors with invisible fence right next to them. The outside of the plot is pretty simple. It looks like he just spammed some of these trees. Some parts definitely look quite a bit rushed. But overall, I think it looks really nice. And especially, it's probably one of the nicest coasters that were built in this round. Something which I actually really like is this little tower here with a top spin on top. I think that looks really cool. Alright, then we get to 7th place. In 7th place, with a score of 8.27, we have the cow from Boskop. Now, I already built a cow very early in the round, and like only later all this stuff around it started popping up. But yeah, definitely one of the coolest sculptures I've seen in a multiplayer round. I think it looks awesome. Very nicely done. Yeah, some clever object usage. Love how he did the others. But also the legs of the cow. I think it's really funny how he used these motion simulators for those. Now, and outside around the plot, there's now this car ride. And there's a little building here. It looks like in the Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 style. I think maybe if there was a nicer looking gate over here. Yeah, if the buildings had a bit more details, I think maybe this plot could have scored even higher. But still, I think the cow is really cool. Also love this little detail. Looks like these hay bales which have been packed in foil. But yeah, a wonderful cow. Really nice sculpture from Boskop. Alright, then we get to 6th place. And in 6th place, with a score of 8.40, we have the plot from Timmy Tuner. I believe Timmy Tuner only built this, or most of the plot, in the last few days of the round. But yeah, Timmy Tuner made this beautiful Eurofighter coaster. Also has his drop tower on the side. Great support work for the coaster. Now I always like building in this junk theme, because then usually it doesn't really matter if your supports look a bit messy. Also some other stuff you can get away with being a bit sloppy, so it's always fun to do that. But yeah, there's some really cool details in this plot. I love this excavator here. So I believe the story of the plot was that they were excavating for fertile soil, which was all hidden under the trash. This was far in the future. And looks like all the soil is being put to use over here in this little farm. These pipes here, they all look really cool. It all looks a bit, handmade. I think it's really cool. Also, there's little details here on the side of the building. Kind of looks like some vandalism over here, some graffiti. This sign, I think it also looks great. Also love the building. There's also lots of peep scenes throughout the plot, which made this plot really fun to explore. Also, there seem to be lots of mechanics here. Probably Timmy forgot to turn off inspections for all the rides that he used on the plot, probably to create all the junk over here. Which is why we now have an army of mechanics walking around here, trying to find these rides, which probably don't have an entrance next to a path. But yeah, really cool layout for the Eurofighter. Although probably it would have scored a bit higher if there was a bit more farm on the plot and a little bit less trash. I think it's a really cool idea. Alright, then we get to 5th place. And I have to find the plot. I found it. In 5th place, with a score of 8.53, we have the entry from Isao. And Isao went a different direction with the farm theme. So, yeah, this looks more like an Asian kind of farm. So I believe this is a tea farm. Yeah, it's built all up on these hills. And Isao used all these jet ski vehicles to to make these hills look like this. To make it look like these hills have all these steps. I think that's a pretty cool effect. I think it works pretty well actually. Oh, it's of course also these Asian buildings. This is half of a building. I like how you can look inside. Some of the people in this round having a cup of tea. Here's a little carousel or candy cups, teacups ride. I think that's pretty fitting for a tea farm. Also, I really like seeing all these handymen doing their animation, so it looks like they're picking tea leaves. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. Also love all the little guest scenes over here. That was fun to watch. Yeah, there's not really much more to the plot, but there doesn't need to be anything else, I think. I think it's really effective. Alright, then we get to 4th place. And in 4th place, we have the plot from Carp Runner, or Farm Runner as he is named for this contest. Now, Carp Runner made this beautiful mansion here called Owen's Orchard. Yeah, this beautiful building. I also love these little benches here in front of the building. So a little playground over here, or this pony ride. Also love these trees with all the colored leaves under them. It's a nice detail. Here's a little orchard. And I'm not sure, I think he used litter here, or maybe some scenery. I think it's actually just scenery. If it was litter, the handyman would probably sweep it up. I think it's actually a maze over here, so that's why you see the guest jumping here. So it actually looks like he's picking the fruit from the trees here. That's a cool little detail. Also love this little hose here to water this plantation here. Also, these benches look pretty cool. Although they are probably a bit on the tall side. Or maybe these guests are just kids. But yeah, I think these benches look great when the guests are not sitting at them. Now that looks a little bit silly. But yeah, it is a pretty cool detail. Also, here's a little pumpkin field. You can see the guest jumping with fear. Yeah, there's just lots of cool details on this plot. Also a nice little American flag over here. Looks a little bit different from every angle. But yeah, I think it's really nicely done. Yeah, this is a wonderful little plot from Carpenter. Full of nice details. Oh, there's interior. Let's quickly check inside. Ah, looks like all the rooms are decorated as well. Oh, that's actually beautiful. Yeah. I think it looks amazing. Lots of nice details. Awesome work. So I'm reading in the chat that it wasn't actually mentioned. Wasn't not mentioned in the story. That's a bold strategy. I think if you decorate the inside of your building, you should always probably write that down in the story, or else a lot of people will miss it. I actually also missed it for this entry. Surprise mechanics, Carpenter says. Oh yeah, bold choice, but still really nicely done. Alright, normally I will first show the top 2 and then only after that announce the winner. But for today I'm actually going to show the top 3 and then after that I'm going to announce the winners. And you'll see why later. So, first potential winner, let's find it, is over here. Here's the entry from Jan the Man. Oh wait, no, this entry was made by a newcomer on our Discord, Jan Deer. So yeah, I always like when newcomers make such nice plots. And yeah, since this one is in the top 3, that's definitely really nicely done. Hope to see more from this player in future contests. Anyway, yeah, here we have the Jan Deer factory. Some really cool details in the plot. Of course, there's also the railway that travels between plots. There's also this ride which takes guests around, and I believe it interacts with this door over here. Let's quickly speed it up. That's really cool. That's really well timed. So yeah, most likely this ride is synchronized with this lift. Not really sure. Doesn't look like it's actually set here. Maybe it shows if you change it to a different ride type. But yeah, pretty nicely done. Lots of little details from the outside. Here's the Jan Deer office. You can also see lots of guests inside. Nice little statue in the front. Also a nice little John Deere sign. And I'm pretty sure this ride also has interior. Ah, yes. So if you rotate it this way, yeah, the roof actually disappears. Looks like a big tractor here. Yeah, this is also a great work. There's several vehicles used here and several scenery objects to create this tractor. That looks really cool. Also these mechanics around. So it's one of those roofs that's made of diagonal objects. So from some angles it actually disappears. It looks like it's only decorated to show that angle. But yeah, there's some really clever object usage. And yeah, just a wonderful little factory. Alright, then go to the second potential winner. And that's the plot from the one we see over here. That's the plot from In Error Predicting a Fault. Now, In Error Predicting a Fault had a story about three guys. I believe one was named Bean, the other was called Buns, and the other one was called Bogus. I love how In Error spelled out the names of these people on these signs here. I'm not familiar with the source material. Maybe it was a movie or a book or whatever. But yeah, it's quite nice how he made three different distinct areas on this plot. So here we see the area for Bogus. Also see some stuff going on below here. Looks like big concrete slabs with some fields in front. Love this big mansion here in front. Also these launched free falls here on the side. That's pretty cool. Also these buildings in the front, I think they look great. Harrows, isn't that one of these stores in Britain? Also a little theater. So love how this ride goes under this giant tree here. That's pretty nice. Also here on the edge of the plot, you can still see some farm stuff going on. Also here we see these big silos, look like it's called Bean. All these red buildings. Looks like it's a little orchard in front. Also these fences here with barbed wire on top. I love how we spelled the word bean here. That's really cool. I think the sign on every part of the plot looks great. And here we can see the Buns plot with these windmills. Also some stuff going on here in front. So yeah, once again, not familiar with the source material, but I think this is a great looking plot. Amazing work. And yeah, lots of functional rides on it as well. Let me quickly take a sip of my beer. Alright. I got this beer from my neighbor. Because he wanted to congratulate me with selling my house. He doesn't have a lot of money to spare, so he gave me a can, or a half-liter can of a popular brand here in the Netherlands. But still, I think it was a really nice gesture. Alright, and then let's go check out the final potential winner of this round. And the final potential winner is this plot from Michel. No, it's the beer brand is actually a Hertog Jan, which is actually one of my favorite average beers here in the Netherlands. Yeah, here's the plot from Michel. If I read it correctly, he first joined the round, then gave his plot away to someone. And then later, when someone else dropped out, he jumped in again and created this plot. So it's not your typical farm. This is actually your coca farm. Looks like somewhere in Colombia. Here you can see some slaves working in the fields here. And here we can see lots of gang members watching the harvest. This is probably some stuff that was just harvested. Oh wait, these leaves are put out here to dry. Yeah, and over here we see this boat, which I think looks great. I think it's really tricky to make a nice looking diagonal boat, but yeah, there's this such insane detail in this that looks awesome. You can see lots of people using these river rafts in the last few contests as scenery, which is really clever, of course. For vehicles, you can rotate and you can place them anywhere you want. Another trick that we see a lot lately, so I believe these are just invisible boats with just the plank visible to make this path here on the beach. Yeah, just so many nice details. And I think the foliage around here is just amazing. Now it looks like the cops are also about to enter this plantation. Although if I read correctly in the story, some of them have been bribed. You can also see some of them thinking they don't really want to go, or they are trying to convince the leader to quit. But yeah, just little peep scenes everywhere here. Yeah, I just love the amount of detail on this book. I think Michel did a wonderful job. Alright, I think it's time for the drum roll. Now, I hope it's not incredibly loud, but it probably will be. Anyway, I think how we'll do it is that first I'll announce who got third place, then I'll announce who got second place, and finally I'll announce the winner. But of course we will already know the winner when I've announced second place. Anyway, without further ado, in third place with a score of 9.27. You know what? There's actually a tie for second place. In second place with a score of 9.27, you have the plot from Jan Deere. So yeah, not bad for a newcomer to immediately get second place. And the other person that got second place, also with a score of 9.27. In error predicting a fault with this beautiful plot. And of course, that means that the winner of this round is Michel with a score of 9.33. Oh wait, that one was a bit loud. Sorry about that. Well, yeah, a wonderful plot. Lots of beautiful details. Great work from Michel. Yeah, just and this shows what you can do if you really focus on the details in your plot. Amazing work from Michel. And yeah, didn't he also win the last round? Yeah, great work. Yeah, I think this is one of the best multiplayer rounds we ever had on this community. I always love seeing all plots filled, and yeah, the details on these plots just keep getting better and better. The average score in this round was just super high, and yeah, the creativity in this plot was just amazing. So yeah, I want to thank everybody who joined this round. Thank you so much for joining. We'll probably start a mini contest soon. In the coming months I will be moving to a different house, so it will take me some time to get the servers up and running again. So we'll start with something else first. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed this live stream. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. It would really help out my channel. Please let me know in the comments which one of these plots is your favorite. And if you want to stay updated on these contests, you can always subscribe to my channel. Alright, hope you all enjoyed the live stream. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.